Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. I am here with Wynter. Yes, Wynter, who was on Ready to Love a few seasons back. You guys saw me; I was a little bit harsh on her, so I'm gonna apologize from the jump. So, Wynter, I was a little bit harsh on you. Okay, it's because I liked you so much. All right, Wynter Orange. But we're gonna be here. We're gonna talk a little bit about love, Valentine's Day, talking about how to navigate Valentine's Day if you're single, if you're in a relationship, whatever, and also talk a little bit as well about just retaining your value, because I think it's very difficult through the Valentine's period. I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't on socials. Okay, I posted my thirst traps on there and I went off. Okay, I didn't screen through, I didn't look through. Okay, because there's far too many cute videos on there of people in love. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit all about all that stuff and finally touch on a little bit as well emotional availability as well. So I want to introduce my guest, Wynter. How are you doing today?
I am absolutely amazing. And I accept your apology
That's
because
okay.
you were harsh on me.
They say you're harsh on the people that you like.
That's what you said. So I'll accept that. But super excited to finally be here now that the dust is cleared and, I'm able to come in as myself and just have a good time. I'm excited.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, before we get into a depth of conversation, I did want to touch on emotional availability because we've done last week. Last week we had a discussion around it. I did it for specifically men, kind of how we get to that place. And I kind of wanted to touch on emotional availability just to make sure that audience are aware of us in the conversation flow, what we're kind of touching on today. So I said last week, emotional availability really is about us being able to be open emotionally to emotions. It is us, first of all, being able to receive them and also to emote them. And then to go one step further is also our way of being able to actually explain what we're going through. So the first kind of stage of emotional availability is, first of all, being aware. Are you aware of what emotions you're actually feeling, what you're kind of going through? And the second one is as well, can you begin to also I guess, describe what you're feeling. And then thirdly, also looking at, can you now sit in it and begin to detach it? And when I mean detach, doesn't mean you're separate from your emotions. It means being able to reason why certain behavior happens due to certain emotions, right? And that's kind of the concept of emotional availability in a more theoretical sense. In a more practical sense, can you receive love? Can you give love? It's that's the most simple kind of aspect of it. Can you receive it? Can you give it? Are you running away from it? Are have you been labeled cold sometimes? Have you been labeled that kind of thing? Some people, they're a bit cold. And sometimes that is because sometimes we are not open to emotions. So not just about being open to a relationship, but are you open to being transparent and vulnerable with how you feel, not only with your loved one in terms of relationship partner, but your friends and your family around you? Can you do that? So we'll talk a bit more about that as the show goes on. But what do you think about that, Wynter, in terms of emotional availability?
I think that's an excellent topic because if I were to be completely honest, I spent a lot of time after my divorce and even during my marriage not emotionally available.
Wow.
So even as a wife, and what it came down to was fear, right?
Ooh.
Like I was so afraid of getting hurt, so afraid of being completely vulnerable with my husband and having to control everything that I wasn't really fully vulnerable. I wasn't fully, there.
Mm.
Um, and I could point the blame at him because remember, he cheated very early on in the relationship, right? So that added some layers of walls that I put up. But to be completely honest, when I look at it from a mature standpoint and where I am now, like I was operating in total fear of my
Ooh.
marriage failing, fear of my husband cheating, just so much fear, which caused me to really, put my move myself away from real emotional attachments.
I love what you shared there because I think I can really identify with what you're saying. I haven't
Mhm.
been married, but I can share with the fact that obviously I think when I look back at one of my relationships that I had, I looked at some of the behaviors. So I always say this to the audience straight up. Um, Parts of what I was doing was what we call stonewalling, which is abusive. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
be honest with you. It's abusive, guys. If
Mhm.
you do it, it's abusive. Don't think that you're disappearing for 3 days and coming back and think it's cool. It's abusive, okay? And I was doing a lot of that because I couldn't handle my own emotions, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like I was trying to contain my emotions because like you said, the word fear is really important. I was trying not to fall too deeply in love. I didn't want to give her that kind of power. I was scared I was going to get, and the truth is, it always comes down to what you just said, fear of being hurt, which is where emotional availability lives,
Yeah.
So when you talk about that fear of hurt, can you expand a little bit more on that so people can understand, I guess, the kind of perspective when someone says, I was fearful of being hurt?
That's what, so most people know, like, I was raised in the church, I'm ordained minister. So really, really, operating as a minister. And for me, it was, I cannot fail. People are counting on me. This is my ministry. Like, it was, this fear of failure that came from, being prominent in the church. But even outside of that, just being, like some of us, and I'm talking to some of your audience members, you just want to be good at everything you do. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm that person. Like, I want to be the person that if I get it in, I'm going to excel. I'm going to have the best marriage, the highest marks. And so I was so afraid of failing as a wife, failing in my marriage, that I really, as much, I'm not even going to talk about what he did, but let's just talk about me. I was not creating the most healthy environment for him to even be a good husband. Just so fearful and want to control. Everything has to be just so. And this is how married people are supposed to manage their finances. And this is how we should do this, instead of, just allowing, God to step in and allowing things to unfold in a natural way. It was a lot of, fear that was, causing, I think both of our actions were motivated by fear, to be completely honest.
I love what you said there as well. And again, I want to even just kind of jump with you in that aspect, because I think when looking at what you've just said there, what I also experienced, maybe from a male perspective, wasn't that the person was even bad. I mean, I think in the sense of, maybe the person could have been I wanted them to have a bit more depth in terms of conversation, but that wasn't the reason why I was emotionally unavailable. I was emotionally unavailable because I had learned that from my parents, in a sense, right? I love my dad and I love my mom, but especially from my dad's perspective, he didn't have a dad. So he's learning what he can on the job. He's giving you what he can. He's coming from Africa, coming to UK. That's a whole process in itself. You're dealing with racism. You're dealing with people who don't respect your degree, even if you're getting from another country. There's a lot of things that are affecting a parent coming and raising a child. So what I got was whatever he could give at the point in time, So the emotional aspect doesn't play into when you're trying to survive. So I learned that, thinking, partly knowing that that's wrong, but also at the same time not being able to have the information to change the programming, because you become aware. I think if you're a person who is aware of yourself, you are aware that there's two or three things within you fighting at the same time. So you're aware that this behavior probably isn't the right behavior. And you're aware of the fact that this is my program and I'm going to stick to it because I'm going to be safe if I hear. And then you find that middle ground and you're trying to jostle between the two. There's a fight within yourself. And I think I never cultivated, myself personally, the space for my partner to be their fullest emotional self, because I wasn't my fullest emotional self myself. Part of emotional availability I put here is fear of commitment. Go for it. Yeah, what are you saying?
But did you really know that? Like, I don't feel like I knew.
Ooh, talk on it.
Like, I didn't realize that I was being controlled by fear. I didn't realize.
Okay, yeah, I get you saying. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I knew that I wanted my marriage to work. And I knew I had this kind of nuclear idea of what a household. Sorry about that. I knew I had kind of this nuclear idea of what our household should look like and should, operate like. And I didn't realize it was fear until after I started doing the healing work. Like, when I really started, digging into those layers, going to therapy, peeling back, some of the issues, it was that came up.
Okay, I'm seeing what you're saying. Yeah, maybe I'm looking at it from a perspective of being past that, healed, and looking back into it and kind of almost interpreting into the situation. I guess obviously part of me, I guess I'm looking at it and I'm going, there was like you said, the word fear is, I think, a big component.
I can't hear you. Hang on.
Oh, you can't hear me? Oh. Jump out and jump back in.
Okay, can we try
Yeah, can you hear me?
talk again?
Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you.
Oh, I think it went. Okay, wait. Let me just say this.
I don't know what happened. Should I
Don't
leave and
worry.
come back?
Yeah, yeah. You can come
Okay.
back. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. The sound went, I think, there for a second. Yeah. So we're just talking about emotional availability, guys. Talking about love. Talking about Valentine's Day. Really wanted to have a real good discussion about being able to navigate that space. And what that looks like, because emotional availability. I think I said to you guys last week as well. We talk about fear of commitment. If you're afraid of committing, you you may think you're emotionally available, but you're afraid of committing. You might not be emotionally available, as you're saying. You know, that's good. You can hear me now. You can hear me now again.
I can.
I think what
Thank
happens
you.
sometimes when people call and stuff like that, sometimes it can take your sound away. I don't know what happens. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
One of those things. But yeah, but we were just talking, saying about you, like maybe I was looking back into the situations in the past and kind of interpreting what I
Yeah.
know now into
Hmm.
that situation, then rather than what my mindset was at that particular time. I think you're right. There was less awareness, I
Yeah.
should
Because
say.
I think at the time you're probably doing the best you can. Like you think you're going about your day thinking that you're providing a safe environment for your partner and you're making good decisions. And it's not until you really like get outside of it and then you see like, okay, that wasn't good. Like that wasn't a safe environment for the person that I love.
How did you? What prompted the work? To change that. What prompts the work for you? What prompted the work for you?
So what happened was, and that is such a good question. So after my divorce, I was stuck. And most people just stay stuck where you're kind of replaying situation like all day my mind was going what I could have done, what I
Yeah.
should have did, this, that, or the other. So I was kind of in this loop of not really getting over and healing from the divorce. And a good friend of mine recommended I try this thing called transformation prayer is what it was called. And it really is kind of a form of it's a form of prayer where they take you back to the beginning of a particular issue. Like
Ooh.
how did where does this guilt really lie? And you're able to get to the root. And so I did that a couple of times and I was able to uncover so many roots of fear of rejection, all of those things that we, may unconsciously deal with. And so it was my determination like, I can't stay here. This is not a healthy state of mind for me. Um, and so I continued to go through that process of peeling back those layers. And from that emerged a real understanding of who I am. And the whole self love movement that I started, came from that.
Wow. Okay. So a little bit prayer, kind of prayer, taking it back to the very beginning, kind of prompted that work. Were you? Did you know how to, or were you directed or guided then in terms of how to then navigate that journey piece? Because I guess all of us have different journeys in terms of getting to that space.
Hmm. Hmm. You know what? God really guided me once I started. It's a process of so I would go through that and then I would notice another trigger. Then I was address that trigger. And it became for me just this entire healing experience of finding those triggers and dealing with them, really allowing myself to heal through it. And yeah, that's how it was. It was like one layer after another of understanding more who I am, understanding the motive behind my actions, and then allowing God to speak to me, like, hey, you don't have to be fearful.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely hearing that. I think what prompted me, I guess, I think after a breakup, naturally, I'm actually trying to think, I naturally review things. If things go wrong, or things weren't working, or they didn't go right, my natural inclination is to kind of just review the information and see what can be done better. So I think after that breakup with that particular girl, I reviewed it and said, whew, like, okay, what went wrong, and also what did you contribute towards it? Because if something breaks down, there's a part that you played, whether you think you're right all the way through or not. There's a part that I played, and so when I started
Sure.
reviewing it, I remember a distinct conversation that I had with a friend at the time, when I was in the relationship, and we were talking, and I just said to her, yeah, sometimes I just don't be texting her like 2 3 days in a row, man. I just can't be bothered. I can't deal with it. Yeah, I said that. I know. I said, I just can't talk to her, bruv. And she's like, why? And I said, we're not connecting on this piece, and I'm not getting there. And she said, like, so you're just ignoring her for 2 3 days? I said, yeah, she'll be fine. Now, in the back of my mind, I'm like, she won't be fine. But I'm like, in the back, I was like, yeah, we're fine. She's like, no, you can't do that. You know that, right? Like, that's not the right way to go. Now, she didn't use the word abuse at the time because, again, awareness piece of understanding what certain behaviors are. In my head, I'm just thinking, no, I'm getting a reset. You know what I mean? Like, etc. So, looking back, I looked back and I was like, okay, that was a lot of things I was doing that I thought was maybe not bad, but I thought it was like, it is what it is. But
Right.
then looking back and I realized, whoa, that's doing some damage. You know what I mean? And I've contributed to a downfall of relationship. If the person felt like I wasn't there, well, that would be one of the reasons why I wasn't there, because I wasn't showing I was there. So yeah, I think, I think having that piece of awareness and wanting to improve, like
Yeah.
you said, and not wanting to, I hate failing. And I think that's what it is as well. I
Yeah.
don't like failure, you know? So did for you then, if we're talking about emotional availability, then, and you spoke about obviously the feeling of, uh, being stuck.
Yeah.
Um, I just wanted to touch on that. When you say stuck, what does that mean, like for you? Like how does that look like being stuck? How does that feel like being stuck? Because when I get a breakup, I feel free. So I don't know, be gone. But for you, why did you feel stuck? Was there something else at play as well, or?
Well, I feel like stuck is when you are in a loop. Like when you just constantly replaying a scenario over and over, and it's impacting your relationships. It's impacting, what you're doing on the weekends and the decisions that you make. That's stuck.
Yeah.
Um I won't say that I was depressed because I don't know that I've ever really gone into depression. Depression is a
Mm.
really serious term. Like I've had lows, and I definitely had some serious lows after my divorce. But you just being stuck is you just in a loop. You're doing things, and all you can think about is a particular situation, and it's just subconsciously controlling your life.
Mm.
And when you become aware of that, like my thing is like, you got to do whatever you need to do, hire a coach, get a therapist, read a book, whatever you need to do to get yourself out of that loop.
Mm.
Hmm.
I'm hearing that. I'm hearing that. Since you are talking about trying to get yourself out of that loop, getting yourself, even going into therapy and stuff like that as well.
Hmm.
We are obviously Valentine's Day. I mean, has just gone past, right? It's gone past
Yeah.
last, a day or two ago. Um, and Valentine's Day is one of those days that comes around every year. Okay,
Yes.
comes around every year. How was your Valentine's this year?
I got a lot of gifts.
Hey.
I got some beautiful
Mm-hmm.
flowers. I got some beautiful candy. I got some gift
Jeez.
cards. Like I got gifts. But to be completely honest, I spent Valentine's Day alone yesterday watching a movie. Um, and it was not because I didn't have options, but truth of the matter is, the guys that asked me out, I don't like them.
I hear that.
And I was like, I don't want to waste your time and your money eating your food, acting like I like you when I don't. Like, how about I just order in and enjoy time by myself? I did a wonderful bubble bath with flowers. I treated myself like a queen, and it was wonderful. Instead
Mm.
of wasting 2 hours of someone else's time and their money, pretending like I like them, I rather just love on myself, and it was wonderful.
I love that. I mean, obviously Valentine's Day for me, it's a normal day. It's not a normal day.
So you're
Um,
not in love right now?
no, 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 no. I'm in love right now, baby. Okay, I'm open. Okay. Um,
Soon, soon you're
soon,
gonna be falling in love.
soon. You know what
I
I
feel
mean?
it.
There's many out there. I'm emotionally unavailable in 2022, unfortunately, guys. No, just kidding, just kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm focused on work. But no, but in all reality, I mean, as you said there, you made a really good point about potentially having many suitors that want to take you out on Valentine's Day, but they're not really choosing to go out with those people. Why make that choice? Because by all means, you'd be in your jurisdiction. If they asked you to go out, you'd be in your jurisdiction. They
Let's
asked you to go
go.
out. Why make that choice not to go out? What's the kind of driving force and purpose, man? I know you say you didn't particularly like them, but I mean that's never stopped people before. So why not choose that path?
You know what? And this is gonna. I really like me. I
Mm,
really like hanging out with Wynter. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, get dressed, go out with this cat that I probably don't like, don't really want to see again. Eh, I could just eat a veggie burger at home and really enjoy a movie.
mm,
Like that was really, really 100% my thought process. Like, you
mm.
know, I'm at this place now.
Come on.
I everything that in my life I want it to be real, pure, whole. And if it doesn't feel good, I don't want it. So
Mm,
I was like, okay, sitting here across from somebody that I don't really like, that
mm.
doesn't really feel good. I want to
Okay.
be at dinner like this, sitting next to the guy, like, you know what I mean? I want to be smiling. I want to be laughing at his jokes. I want to really, appreciate the guy that I'm having dinner with. And why, this guy's going to spend $200 on dinner. Why? He can keep it. Take somebody else
Mm.
out.
Damn, how much you not spend on $200? What are you not going to? What are you not eating? What are you not eating? Two hundred
Listen,
dollars
you
on
got,
dinner?
well, first of all, if you want to go out with me, you need to choose a high end restaurant. All right. So we're not going to Chili's. We're not going to.
You telling me there's no mid range?
You like so you would aim for the mid-range restaurant, not the low
Baby,
end, not the high end.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm going out next month and it's £150 minimum, so I can't really talk. But it's not a usual thing for me. You know what I mean? 200 quid, $200.
I mean, listen, I bring a lot to the table.
No, I know, but it's gonna be swiftly taken off at $200 a meal, isn't it? You won't be nothing left.
But see, think of it. I'm considering him like that's money to spend with
Yeah,
someone who's not even really feeling you like that. Like
that's
I don't
true.
really want to do you like that.
That's true. That's true. If you're gone mid range, you might not feel as bad.
Right? Or if we done went to a buffet, then it's
Then we can
all
always
good.
eat. Everybody good after. No, I'm only playing, but no, I definitely hear you, and I think what you're speaking to is really important because since we are talking about emotional availability and we're talking about Valentine's Day, I think sometimes we do open ourselves up to certain events and certain meetings with people, and like you said, we might not even like them, but again, because of the ego and the validation we get from those particular people, we
Right.
might go out on a date, or I might take a girl out just because I don't even like her, but maybe I just want to be able to feel good. I want to be able to feel like my ego is being validated at that point,
Right.
and I think sometimes when we ask about emotional availability, sometimes the ego is one of those biggest things where instead of, like you said, just saying, actually, I don't need this. I'm gonna sit at home and chill. I'm gonna be out now because I want to feel something.
Right. Right. And I had people calling me like, "You not out? Like you I don't care what you think." Like I'm really good and I had a great time by myself. I had an amazing Beyond Burger. I had I set it out. I had some wine. I
Ambiance.
had my bubble bath. I was really good. And I feel like the more a woman comes into herself and really, really begins to just fully love herself and embrace who she is, like a lot of stuff just don't matter. And you realize the
Mm,
value of your own time, your own, appreciating yourself. Like I don't want to, in addition to him, like I don't want to give him that much time.
mm,
So
mm. For you, then, Valentine's Day comes along. Um, what is the feelings towards that day then? I mean, because I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said earlier on, I went on. It's Valentine's Day. I didn't go on social media. I would get sick and tired of seeing post after post after post after post after post. People that are not even in relationships are even posting. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? So by the end of an hour of scrolling, I don't want to scroll no more. How is it like for you in Valentine's Day? Like, do you ever get that feeling? I don't want to ask. Maybe I can ask. Are you in a relationship at the moment? You can say plead the fifth if you rather. But are you in a
no,
relationship at the moment? Okay.
no, no.
So how is it for you then? Like looking at Valentine's Day from your perspective, do you ever feel that winter blues?
Listen, yesterday, real talk, I worked and then I went out. I went and bought myself a cupcake because I already kind of knew like I was gonna do this for myself. So I went to go buy myself a cupcake.
Come on
I
now. I
went
love
to
a
the
good cake.
store, huh?
I love a good cake. You're right.
Yes, a little, perfect little cupcake. And then I went to go buy myself some flowers. I went to go buy myself a dozen roses because I'm like, I want to, I'm gonna spoil myself.
Mm.
And literally, while I was about to buy the roses, I got a call from, hey, delivery, we have some flowers for you from, this guy. And I was like, oh, well, great. I don't have to buy myself any flowers. Like, so I'm saying that to say, like, I had it planned out. I got a cupcake. I was going to buy myself some roses. The bath was already part of my plans.
Come
So
on.
I literally went into it like that. I,
Mm.
I'm just at a place of like, God, you know what my heart's desire is. You know I want it real. And if it ain't real, it ain't right. And that's how I went into the day. So okay, I don't have a Valentine right now. I'm gonna spoil myself and things will be good.
How do you stay in that place? Because it's very difficult being single, even for us as men, be that, and that's probably what leads us down the sexual path. But I mean, how do you, how do you, how do you kind of like not let, not just Valentine's Day, but I guess being single in general, like, I've been single for the last like, what, two years now? No, but 1.5 years now,
Hmm.
it's not too bad because I got work I'm focusing on, but sometimes it hits me. You know what I mean? Like you just want a little cuddle. You know what I'm saying? Like just a
Yeah.
little,
Oh, for
just a
sure.
little snuggle.
Yeah.
How do you maintain staying in a place where you don't make a decision where you do something that you might regret, or
Yeah.
entertain some people that just you just want an ego feel? Like how do you maintain not going into those kind of spaces then?
Oh, that's a great question. So yeah, I'm not oblivious. Like I'm never gonna be the person like, oh, I never, oh, I'm so above it. Like, no, I do desire companionship. And
Same
there are
here, baby.
times, this for whatever reason, Valentine's Day wasn't the thing for me. But there are times when I'm like, gosh, I would like to have someone, over, or I would like
Same here. Company.
some company, right?
I know you meant, don't
All right. but but you know what blesses me so much? It is the fact that I have told God what I desire. And
I?
I believe so strongly that it's close, that it's on the way. And I'm just not willing to settle. Like let's just get real.
Yeah, let's get real, please. Come on.
Because like for me, I'm not willing to settle, and I'm not willing to have random sex either. I'm not willing. Like I'm not willing to just sleep with random people to fulfill a desire. Like I feel like I'm too powerful. I'm too amazing of a person. I'm too dope to just be giving it out like that. Like I just believe that so strongly in my
Mm,
heart. And so, my safety in that is that God, I have told you what I desire. I believe that is close, and I'm believing you. That's it.
That's good. That's good.
Like it's I'm too amazing to just be around here with anybody. And I hope that a lot of women and men feel that way. Like men have the right to even put those kind of, parameters out there. Like I'm too dope of a man to just be, sleeping with randoms. Like who it's just not worth it.
That's a good
So
point. That's a really good point. I'm hearing that. So, so with obviously, dating and relationships and everything being thrown in our faces every single day that we're on social media as well, how do you deal with the pressures then of, I don't know if, because you're on social media as well, I know you
mhm.
use it. How do you deal with the pressures of social media? It's probably slightly away from our topic, but social media is such a powerful tool in our lives now. How do you deal with the influx of information and standards that are put on us daily from social media?
I don't know. Like I look at social media as a tool for my job. You know what I mean? Like
I'm gonna use it and you'll use me. Okay.
this is how I'm able to, build, my clients, talk to my, do the consulting that I do. Um, there are times when you get to when like Christmas when everybody's in their pajama photos, right? Is that what you're talking about?
And the presents underneath the tree are the galore. Okay.
Right. Yeah, there are times when you look and it's a little, like, that would be nice, but I don't know. God is so good. I just believe, I feel like love is so close. Like, I feel like, book me again in 8 weeks and
Girl,
I'll
you.
be engaged.
No, you playing me?
I haven't met him yet.
Girl, you better stop playing me. Because your God is so good, it's different. This is what I need. This that God is so good. I'm saying, there's energy in that, baby. You know something I don't know, okay?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's always the pressure and stuff, but just stay
Yeah.
optimistic, stay in a grateful place. Like gratitude is it's not only an attractor of good things.
Okay.
Gratitude absolutely attracts God's best because God loves praise, God
Come
loves
on.
worship, God loves thanks, right? Um, so it attracts things to you, it brings you in, but it also takes your mind out of right now when you are just so full of gratitude. Like I'm so grateful for this platform and even being able to have this time with you and your audience, even though a couple of them, that said some crazy stuff, but it's good. I love you.
I see the crazy still. I hear what you're saying, darling.
I love you just the same. But I really try to stay in a really high place of gratitude. And I pray that other people also, like when you do feel yourself slipping, if you could bring yourself to a place of just crazy, radical gratitude about small things, a lot of stuff will begin to roll off your back. Yeah.
Okay. I'm definitely hearing that. Definitely hearing that. Going back onto the subject of emotional availability, you know, would you say you're able now to spot when a man is emotionally unavailable to you? And if you are, how do you spot that? What are your kind of markers that you kind of see in them that you're like, he ain't available?
You know what? The first thing I think people can do, self included, and this is a lesson I had to learn more than once,
I
right?
understand.
Because a
Same.
lesson will repeat itself till you get it.
Get it?
Um, believe what a man tells you. Like, you know, I'm not talking about the ones that, are lying, but there are a lot of times where a man will tell you, I'm not in that space right now. I'm not looking for anything serious. I just went through a divorce or whatever. A lot of times you got to really believe it. And I find that in the past, and I'll only speak for myself, I start kind of trying to look between the lines. Well, he
I hear
did
that.
bring me lunch today. Well, he did, XYZ, instead of taking him at his word. If he said, like, I'm really not there, then there's truth in that.
Mm,
I met a guy not long ago that I felt like was the perfect guy, Kojo. Oh,
mm. Just top of the
he,
range.
he was, huh?
Top of the range. Five hundred
He was
pound dinners for Valentine. Not even
he
200.
was right. Yes, he seemed like he had so many things going for him. And we had a conversation. He was like, "So do you like me?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." And he was like, "Well, I like you too." And I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
And so he was like, "But I'm just not in a place where I
Uh,
can do give anything more than
whoop de
just
whoop de whoop
hanging out."
wah. Mm-hmm.
He was
Mm.
like, "I'm not, I'm not at a place where I'm ready to commit."
He wants maintenance. I hear him.
Right. and so, and so, normally from that conversation, and he kept talking to me. We kept, he kept hanging around. And normally from that conversation, I would have said, "Well, he did take me to dinner. Well, he did, and I would have started to try to rationalize. Well, for
Mm.
me, when he told me that, book closed, you're not interested in that, and I'm not interested in anything casual. So
Mm.
we're not on the same page. When you come around, hopefully I'm still single.
Mm. Mm.
But before I would, now that is an example, wouldn't you say, of someone emotionally unavailable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'm at. Yep.
That's exactly what you're saying. Like, he's not available. And so instead of me trying to read between the lines this time, I was like, gosh, this guy will be perfect. I was like, God, if he's the one, please get his mind right, bring him back. But outside of that, I'm gonna go. And I'm definitely not gonna chase you and try to convince you. Because I did that before. I've done that
Mm.
before. I'm not doing that again.
Mm.
You know, like trying to be the perfect woman
Oh,
for a guy who's already told you he's not there. Like, I've done it. I've tried, you try to, show up in a certain way.
way. Yeah.
And I think the difference between me and a lot of women is they're not able to admit it. But I will tell you, like, I have been the girl who, let me just be perfect. Let me be his piece. Let me do
Mm.
this. Let me wear this. Let me make sure I do this. F that. Okay.
And
If
that's
he ain't
that.
there, I'm not there.
Mm.
And we can both drink to that.
That's right. Stay hydrated. I definitely hear you on that, and that's what I'm saying. You know what? You've mentioned something which is really important, and that's what I'm saying to you. This year, I'm not in that space. I'm just not in a space to date and give anybody commitment.
See?
I'm happy to be cool. I'm happy to be, if you want to be friends, that's cool. But I can't give anybody any commitment. I'm focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, and I want to keep going forward. So that's why I'm saying I'm single this year into 2023. Maybe we can open ourselves up again, but I'm closed off. You know what I mean? Unless God literally prompts it. And it's just because, like I said, there's a focus I'm trying to ignite. But you're
Yeah.
right. If I'm a gentleman, I tell you, listen, I'm not there, and you decide to keep on pressing, or even if I decide to keep on pressing, and you didn't hear what I said, you're probably going to end for a train crash in the end because
Exactly.
I I'm not there. You know what I mean? And what you
Mm-hmm.
want is not what I'm going to give you in the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
f- so for you, why what again do you feel was a driving force for you in terms of why you when you said you've kind of like learned from it, why you would go forward even though you heard what you heard from the gentleman? What would make you want to keep going forward? What were the factors? What were the kind of motivations that made you at that time back in the past progress forward even though you've heard he's probably emotionally
You
available?
you know what? Let me. That's a very good question,
Mm.
and I would imagine that it probably has to do with a fear of rejection.
I
And
hear
what it
this.
is that the woman, myself, I have taken what you said as a person, like, you don't want me,
Mm.
right? And it may not be that it's me. It may be just like what you said. I am not in the space right now. I think you're amazing, Wynter, but right now I'm not there emotionally. And I think what happens is this fear of rejection kicks in, and women or men who are on the other side of that statement take it personal. Like, I
Mm.
had a guy tell me, "Oh, my girl told me she needed some space. That means she's just making space for another man." And I was like, maybe she really is dealing with some things personally and really does need space. But I think the ego side of us takes it personally. Oh, you don't want me. You want someone else. I am not enough, as opposed to really just taking it for what it is. For whatever reason, this person is not there. And I'm still amazing. I'm still the dopest chick you'll ever meet. And boom, you're good.
I love that point you made there about the fear of rejection, because I think a lot of us have dealt with that, especially if you come from a particular kind of home as well. The fear of rejection is probably something that's really strong in us. I know myself, even, I don't like getting rejected. It's not nice. It's not a pretty affair when you get rejected. You know what I mean? And you're right. And this is where I think I was talking about last week, and I spoke of this about a particular person on Ready to Love, and I said about how all of us, when we grow up, depending on your environment, your ego and your self-esteem are being conditioned. Your identity, your ego, and your self-esteem are being conditioned in the environment you're in. So if you're in an environment where there's a lack of emotional availability, guess what's going to happen? First and foremost, you're potentially going to have a fragile ego, and potentially as well, your identity is going to be compromised, because you are developing your identity through the environment that you're in. And if it's not loving, you fail to develop a strong identity. So when you do grow up and you meet people, instead of it being like a rejection, I got rejected, and do you know what? It's just, they don't, it is what it is. They just reject me. It's them, not me. What you do is you internalize and say, they just don't want the whole of me. It's just everything about me. They don't want me. You know what I mean? And then it's like, I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at them. I'm angry at myself. And suddenly now, like you said, you will try to make circumstances where you are being told, hey, I'm not ready for this. But you will try to win them over.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'll let you take from there.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm saying, like, yes, that's exactly it. And you try, and I've seen women and men, they try to be perfect. And I'm trying to, even me, like, I've told men, like, hey, I really am just all I do is work right now. I'm really working on building my business to the level that I want to. And I have men that feel like, okay, well, I'm going to keep calling every day. I'm going to text her good morning every morning. I'm going to text her good night. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm like, dude, it's not changing. It's not you. It really is me.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Someone's put a question here, very interesting. They said Kojo, but I think we can both answer this. It says, but Kojo, tell us why men do that but go and be in another relationship. So basically, I'm thinking the person saying, why do men say I'm not ready for a relationship, but then 2 months down the line they're married? Well, the truth still remains. They were unemotionally available to you. Irrespective of whether they go and get into another relationship, to you specifically, they were emotionally unavailable. And that's all you need to know. Like, it doesn't matter whether he chooses the other lady in 2 months or 3 months, or he says, you know what, I'm not in that space right now, goes and dates somebody else. It's actually none of your concern. Because when you were interacting with him, he was concerned that with your relationship, he's not available. Does it? After he does next, you don't have to worry about that, because it's not a blight on you. It's what he wanted to do. And sometimes you might not be the right person for that person, whatever, that happens too. But you should only be concerned with what he's done with you. If he says he's not interested, pack your bags, get going, go on a flight, get back to where you're coming from. You know what I mean? And whatever he chooses to do, that's him.
It really is, because you never know, like, the circumstances. Like, he might get married, but he might have still been emotionally unavailable and made a quick decision. And she's not getting the best of him either.
Anyway, yep.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. And who's to say, even, like you just said as well, if the fact that he went and got married, so if he got married quickly or went into a relationship really quickly, that would still be the point, right? So if you deep it, really, him going from you to him, if he had gone with you, you'd have been in trouble anyway, because that girl was probably in the peripheral vision from before, more than likely. So you don't worry about that guy. If he decides he goes into another relationship, don't worry about him. You know what I'm saying? Because for you, he wasn't available, and that's okay. Don't take it personally. Keep it moving. There are plenty more fishes that be swimming in certain seas. You know what I'm saying? Just get your rod and catch them like that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I wanted to even discuss from your perspective. Have you been in a place where you've been emotionally unavailable, and still tried to date? And if you have, how did that go? I know you spoke a little bit about your marriage in the sense of being emotionally available, but I think at that point, you spoke about that point a little bit. Have you been in a place where you felt like you're maybe not as available, but still found yourself trying to date? And if you have, how did you navigate that? What were your kind of feelings and thoughts in that moment? You know?
Listen, it happened. It happens one of two ways. Like, because
Okay.
there was a long period of time after my divorce where I just wasn't there. Like,
Mm,
I really didn't want to enter into another serious
I
relationship.
understand.
And okay, there was one guy, I was just snappy. He just got on my last nerve. Like, everything he did was wrong.
And nothing you can do that's gonna be right, boy.
Right. And I would just be so irritated over very little things. And I was like, you know what? It's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy doesn't deserve this. Like, he would call me, what? I told you I was working. What do you need? Like, I was just, and I had to stop. I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't deserve it. It's me. I'm not here. And I was
Mm,
able to walk away. I was like, listen, I'm not there. You know, this is not for me.
mm.
So that has happened. And ladies, if you find yourself you're dealing with a man and you are just super irritated by everything he does, let him go. Don't
Yep.
don't keep hurting him.
Let us go, baby.
Don't hurt his heart, because he love you. He love
I want to swim in some waters. Leave me alone.
so that was one way where I determined, like, okay, I'm not there. I really don't
Yeah.
like this person, and I'm obviously not here. And then the other thing, now here's the flip side of it.
Hmm.
Sometimes when you are emotionally unavailable, you go out and find people who are also emotionally unavailable, right?
Speak on it, Winter.
And
Mm-hmm.
you create kind of this cycle of,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it didn't work out, it's not me, but really it is you. You are actually attracting what you are.
Come
um
on.
and so I had to look at myself, like, I keep dating these emotionally unavailable men. I guess I don't really want to be in a relationship. I'm emotionally unavailable as well. And instead of pointing the finger at them, like, I need to just own them to the fact that I really don't want to be in a relationship right now. And there you have it.
You know what? That is beautiful. That's on my list as well in terms of emotional availability, unavailability. People tend to date other people who are emotionally unavailable.
You do.
You know?
And it's almost like, it's just like you create this situation where you don't really want it, so you find someone else who doesn't
You
want
really
it.
want it? Mm. And who's gonna want it more first? Because that's what I'm looking for. Someone's gonna crumble, and it ain't gonna be me. Boy, you better.
It's really crazy, the psychology of it, but you can do it. Like, you can choose a person that's going to give you the perfect set of circumstances to prove whatever idea you have in your mind.
And do you know what? You've touched on such a beautiful piece as well, because I was watching a video the other day on with the roommates, and I think I showed it to the audience last week when we did emotional unavailability, and there was a young lady talking about how she keeps attracting these emotionally unavailable men, and I was saying the exact same thing, which is sometimes it becomes a competition, almost like, when you're emotionally unavailable, you want to make other people want you. It's a validation. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Wow.
You don't want a relationship, but you want them to want you. You want them to desire you. Because at the end of the day, that's a basic human want and need. We want people to like us, and we also want people to desire us. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just when it gets channeled into a particular area. For instance, when we're dating, wanting that desire of somebody. If you're emotionally unavailable, you are going to attract emotionally unavailable people too, because they're people who are thinking just like you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think when people are, dating and consistently find themselves with emotionally unavailable people, you said it correctly. We should be looking inwardly first, because we can change that. Can't change that, but we can change this first. And this will potentially change now the radar of how we're now looking for somebody who we want to settle down with, as if you want to settle down with. You know what I mean? Maybe you're not ready to even to settle down. But I love the fact you mentioned about the two unemotional people that tend to get into this game of Game of Thrones, we call it, trying to move chess pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you? Okay, so when you if you dated someone that was emotionally unavailable, did you find that there was I like to call it power struggles between the two of you, or did you find yourself, was it uneven? Was it more your side? Was it more their side? How did you find it?
It was probably more him, and so well, no, it was probably both because I didn't really looking at it. I don't think I really wanted it either. Obviously, right? Two
Yeah.
emotionally unavailable people. But what I did was I created this narrative that he had walked away from the relationship, and now I gotta deal with that, and oh, he hurt me. Well, really, I wasn't hurt. It was just two people with bad timing. It was never meant to happen. We had a couple of really cool dates. Like, he was one of the only guys that took me on like outdoor dates, like hiking and bike riding, and so we had some really cool times and hung out together, but it was never meant. And when he walked away, looking at it like, all right, you want me to get real again?
Oh,
We
we
can get
want the
being
real,
real.
baby. We want the real. Do it to us
So
hot.
listen, he was such a handsome guy. He
Come
was
on.
he was gorgeous. He was from the Ivory Coast.
Jeez.
Just chocolate dimples, tall, amazing guy. Spoke French, English, Spanish, probably
Jeez.
native. He just spoke. He was just amazing.
Bilinguals.
But he had three small kids, and he was freshly divorced. And so it was never something that I probably, I really wouldn't have willingly entered into that setup.
I
You
hear you.
know, it was just the fact that I liked him. I wanted to hang out. We had a good time. He became, he was a really cool person to talk to. He was so smart. But I knew that wasn't going anywhere. You know what I'm
I know
saying?
this one. Yeah.
Like, I knew. I think I just wanted to hang out with him because he's so cool. He was such an amazing guy. But I knew, like, you got kids that are under 5, and I have 0 kids and 0 responsibilities. Like, that's a lot to
To
take
take
on,
on. Yep.
you know? So there you go. Look, I gave you at least 2 really good tea segments on here.
Don't worry, man. The tea's hot. And I definitely agree. I definitely hear you on that story as well. And I think, and maybe this is a little bit of a segue in terms of what we're talking about. I say segue, a little bit of a diversion. I think also there's an aspect, like I said, because of the ego aspect of this as well. Because when I'm not ready for a relationship, and this obviously maybe not. I won't say. What I say is now. But I think there's aspects of me that is like I said, that likes the desire, likes the validation, likes the person who likes me, but I'm not there. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes when you're accepting some of this, these receiving some of this love and attention from that person, a key aspect also of being emotionally available is also being able to understand the other person's sentiment and feelings towards you and not using it against them. Because sometimes, listen, I'll be honest, with you, sometimes the attention that we come in is large and you'll be looking at it like, I'm not interested, but baby, right now, a brother could use some of your attention right now, okay? All right? I like the fact you're complimenting me. I like the gifts. I like the hugs that you're giving. But I'm not there to give you a relationship. And I think that's a part of emotional availability that we're talking about also as well. Being transparent with how you feel and not taking advantage, I guess, of how people feel towards you. What you saying, Winner?
I'm thinking, look, I want to change the subject
Go for it.
because I feel like are you sure that it's your job that's keeping you from being in a relationship? Because when I'm feeling your energy, okay, and I'm an intuitive, so let me go ahead and let me tell you what the
It's
cosmos is
telling you.
telling me, what the
Uh
Holy Spirit is telling me. I feel like you have so much love to give. You have all of these things that you can give to a relationship, but I feel like you have this idea of where you want to be by the time you bring someone into your life, and you haven't got there yet. And so you put up this blockade, and you're not allowing yourself to meet and start something that could be amazing.
Come on, Wynn. Let me put my feet up and you just tilt to me, baby.
I just
I'm on the couch. I'm on the couch, baby. I'm on the couch.
listen. That's what I feel like. I feel like you have this idea in your head of where you're supposed to be before you can really commit. And what I want to say to you is that you're doing yourself a disservice because you have all of this love to give. You I feel like you are a
Go on.
very attentive person. You're a very giving, like you're a pleaser. You want to
Yeah.
make sure your person is very taken care of. That is your nature. And you have all of this love stored up that you're not giving. And I just want to tell you, like, release this idea of perfection and
Yep.
allow yourself to feel.
My, how the tables have turned.
Did I get all in your business or what? Listen, I'm telling
Deep in it.
I have I am finally stepping into and fully embracing my psychic, my intuitive powers. And I felt that and I couldn't hold it any further. So now what?
I mean, obviously, and you know, what, you know.
They
No,
said,
let's
what
let's
you
let's keep
waiting
it
on,
real.
boo?
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. I think I've said this before.
They said, what you waiting on?
Do you know what it is? You know what it is? It's not even. And this again, this may sound conceited. This may sound even arrogant. It may have a bit of pride in there. But do you know what? This year, yeah, I think I'm going through. I feel like I'm going through some changes. You know,
Okay.
I'm going through some changes. Yeah,
Okay.
and the man that I am, the man that I'm becoming, I don't feel like it's there just yet. There's just a little bit more that this needs to be done. And second part is, I want to play some more. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not in the space to commit to anybody. I want to play. I want to flirt. I want to joke. I want to just talk to some women. I don't want anything serious. I don't want anything serious. I just want to enjoy life. That's where the space I'm in right now. And I think because this is probably like the first time I've been able to be focused on my work without thinking about, oh, when's your wife coming? When's your wife coming? I'm actually focused on what I'm supposed to do. And then I think part of me also thinking to myself as well, like, as I'm doing it, I'm like, yo, look, like, brother, as you're enjoying your work, you're meeting so many people. And what happens in the past, what I've done is, as I'm, I get into relationships, and then that becomes my buffer for what I'm supposed to achieve. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm good now because I've got a woman. And so I think this is the time where I'm like, no, I don't want to have a woman as a buffer. I don't want them to be my achievement. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
I don't want it to be like, oh, okay, I've got a wife now. Okay, I'm good. No. I've got things to achieve. I need to get on it. You know what I mean?
I see.
And I think I'm really focused on that. But I definitely take what you're saying at the same time as well, because I definitely agree with that. Part of me is a perfectionist. Part of me wants to, make sure I've got
Yes.
everything intact so that if I invite somebody else in, part of it is also so that I can't get criticized, because I don't want to be criticized. I don't want to be told that you're not good enough or anything like that, which I've experienced in the past. So part of it that's also part of it as well. Go on, talk on it, sis.
So, well, listen.
That's also part of it as well.
What I'm appreciating is the self-awareness. Okay. So you at least are aware that you have this perfection and that
Yes.
you're afraid of the criticism. But I would just,
Talk to me.
I would really kind of look at what we just talked about, rewind it, look at it, and really kind of sit in it and think about it, pray about it, journal about it. Like, and I would really ask myself the hard questions. Am I holding myself back from something good? What am I afraid of? What could actually go wrong? What could go right? Like, imagine you saying, "Oh, I don't want to use a woman as a buffer." Imagine meeting a woman that inspires you, and then you
That's
really
true.
start grinding. Because I met a guy at one point who he has so much going for him financially and in business. I'm like, I don't want to even date you until I get to that level. Like, I'm really, you actually are making me apply more pressure. And so sometimes a partnership can bring that into your life. to where all of a sudden now you want to make more money. You want to, be more of who you are. So I would, those questions I just named, journal, write it down. Ask yourself the hard questions, and be honest. That's when the change is going to come.
I'm definitely hearing you. I'm definitely hearing you. I'm still going to play in 2022, but I'm definitely hearing you. Okay, baby, listen. And I said this before, and I said it sounds so conceited, but as a bloke, it's really different for women. Like women, your beauty draws people in, right? As men, your beauty can draw you in, but women are looking for security and stability.
Facts.
So, and I said it before, I said, as my money rises, my level changes. And I said, I'm being very careful. And I'm going to say, I said, it sounds conceited, but I tell my boys all the time, listen, you cash out early, you might have to regret it a little bit later on. Why am I saying that? Because as men, the way that we think, and I think I'm trying to be cautious, like not to just go for women because right now the level I'm at is good. And I think it's because I've done that in the past, right? I was dating a particular girl, but it's because I was down. I was down. You know what I mean? I was down.
I get it.
I wasn't focused on anything. So that girl for that time fitted me perfectly. But then as soon as I started to climb, I was like, yeah. So I'm being very cautious not to choose someone just because right now this is where I'm at. And someone might say, well, how would you know where you're at, the level to know exactly where you're at? I think you have to be smart. I mean, I think that's why I said this year, I know I'm just not in that space. This year I can tell. I can give love, but I'm not in that space to commit to somebody. You know what I mean? There's too many distractions.
And that may be true, but yeah. I do recommend like lean into the hard questions.
Tell me about it.
Could you be like passing up something good? And are you being unconsciously motivated by fear?
Could be.
So ask yourself those hard questions. Get uncomfortable with it. Like, it's nothing more freeing than when you could be totally naked in front of yourself and you could really look at your own situation like, okay, this is an unhealthy way of thinking. And I need to recognize that and deal with that.
It's definitely unhealthy. So let me be very frank and honest since we're here already.
Come on.
Let me be very frank. So there is a part, and this may be the insecurity actually, if we really look at it deeply, right? I like to play. And part of me, the circles that I'm entering to, the women that I'm seeing, I just want to play. I don't want to go, I don't want to commit. I just want to play, okay? And once I finish playing, I'm like, I can settle. Okay, so part of me is there's an ego there. There's an ego that wants to be stroked, let's be honest, because when you're dealing with beautiful women, that's what's going on in your mind. So I think there's a part of me which is like, I just want to play a little bit. Brother, as your circle's changing, brother, listen, you just need to, because I'm a flirtatious person, you're going to have to lock that off now. But let's just wait that year, enter some circles, play a little bit, and then we're ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
So now that's another layer. Now that you say that, okay, well, maybe that is the reason. Maybe you are looking at it from a standpoint of, the pool of ladies that are now, entering your circle. Like, I get it. I feel like I get it.
Wynter pulled it out of me.
I get it. Like, if that is the actual reason, then yeah, get it out your system, I guess. Or ask yourself the hard questions and see if you're potentially dodging a lifelong relationship.
I mean, there is a great girl there. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Go on, Wynter. Go on, talk to me. Go on, talk to me.
No, I'm just listening to you. I'm listening to it all. What is your sign, by the way?
I'm a Cancer. That makes sense.
No, Cancers love so deeply and hard. And a lot of Cancers will shy away because once you go in, you dive
we're going in
into
deep. That's the point. You ain't lying. You've not lied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Going deep.
It's all coming together now.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you mention it. I do think about it, and I do think, I guess what I'm doing, I'm playing a bit of, it's a gambler's game I'm playing, right? Because you could miss out on someone great in between that time. I think part of me also says that rather the risk and the gamble is worth it. So I think that's what's in my mind. I've got those two things in my mind coming, like the risk and the gamble. I've met some great women, the last 2 years, and really, really great. I guess I'm just in my mind. I'm like, there is a fear. There's one fear in my mind that I guess I never really look at, but I know it's there, and that is, I know the history of the men in our family. Cheaters. Okay, and so I'm trying to be really conscious about the movements I make. So if I get into a relationship, I'm trying to be very careful, because once I'm in a relationship, I'm in. We're not playing about. We're in. So I think part of me is like saying, it's almost like, when they say like that little play before the person gets married, like that little lads, what do you call it, hen night or whatever they call it, whatever night or whatever. But it's almost like I'm having that in a year. So I'm like, it's like, before I get locked down and I get taken out the game and I'm out permanently, let me make sure this is out of my system. Okay, and I'm not talking about sex either. I'm just talking about flirting, being fun, and being able to chat freely without thinking this might be slightly over the line.
No, I get it. I get it completely. Now that you add that layer to it, then it makes total sense. Because you want to have a good time, maybe get it out your system and examine those questions we talked about.
Oh,
and look at that.
So in 8 weeks, will we be seeing?
Will I be married?
Would I be seeing photos that I need to start liking?
Listen, I don't know. One thing I will tell you.
Yeah.
If I do start dating somebody, I probably won't go public until the wedding day. Like,
I'm with you on that.
Like, I've experienced this beautiful part of being on reality TV, where people, you give so much away of yourself. And I'm on social media every day. I'm on there every day going live. I give away so much. Like, this next relationship is going to be very, very private until it's ready to go public. And so, yeah. But I feel like the person that I marry, it's not going to take a long time.
I understand. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, like, it's not going to be like a 2-year engagement.
Like, yeah. That's how I feel about, yeah. If I'm in, it shouldn't take that long to decipher, boom.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Because one thing about marriage, and I'll tell you, you've never been married, right?
Never been married, so talk to me. I'm listening.
So I tell people this. People say, oh, well, you need to date this amount of time before you get married. The truth of the matter is this: you never know what's on the other side of I do. Whether you date 7 days, 7 months, 7 years. My brother and my sister-in-law were high school sweethearts. By the time they got married, they already had one kid, had already been together like 7 or 8 years. And when they finally tied the knot. And my brother was like, a week after they married, he was like, who the F are you?
Yes, like, I heard about this.
It was just, and the same thing with me. My husband and I, we were together a year. We engaged in 8 months, married in 12 months. So we were together a year before we got married. And it was night and day from what we were before to what we were after we were married. It was absolutely, totally different. So, it just really adds validity to what you're saying, that, it doesn't take a long time, because either way, you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Whether you wait 3 months or 3 years, you just don't know what to expect.
I definitely agree with you on that. Definitely. And I've heard similar stories like that, where people are together for a long time, then get married, and then it just changes everything. I guess it's because that door is shut. You
It's
now know the
something.
door's shut. Okay, you
It's
can't
something.
run.
Now, my brother and my sister-in-law are still together. Like, they've been
Mm,
together over 20 years,
love
literally since
that.
they were like 16, 17 years old.
Love that.
But yeah, he was like, who are you? What did you
Mm.
just say? What, just totally different once you enter into marriage.
There's something spiritual that changes as well, isn't it, for the people involved?
Oh, for
Mm,
sure. For sure.
wow. Mm, okay, I'm definitely hearing you. Last question then, because I know we've gone to the time. But last question. So you mentioned about not having a relationship on the social media, and I think this is a really good point to make as well. Because I don't like that stuff. Like when I've been in relationships, I don't. I'm not a person that posts people on the thing. I don't like it because I think that invites too many questions, too many people eyes, too many things. I like to keep my things low key so that I can deal with what I need to deal with. You know what I mean? Before, without having too many opinions. I think Kanye and Kim have showed us, y'all don't want people in your business. Okay, when you see other celebrities and see what they're going through and the struggles that they're going through, it's a lot because everyone's got an opinion, including myself. So, for you, what's your kind of reasoning then? I know you said you share a lot already, but what are kind of factors and reasons for why you potentially might not, put it on the net or put it on social media per se?
Yeah, I think, it's that. Like, I share a lot of myself. I try to I give really who I am. Like, if you tapped into me, you follow me, like, you get really Wynter. All the quirkiness, all the craziness, like, it is, you get me. And so I just want to, I don't want to, I want to keep some things to myself. Some things are sacred and pure, and I just want to keep it for myself. And then, going through reality TV, people have opinions, and
Oh my
there are
gosh.
and some people don't even have tact or grace in how they speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
you know Thankfully, I came out of Ready to Love, and I got a lot of positive feedback. I got a lot of love. I got a lot of people who genuinely love me, and I love them. It just a beautiful thing. But then you have some people that have a lot of opinions, and it's just, I just want to keep it beautiful and pure between us until we're ready to make it public.
Totally understand that. That makes 100%
Yeah,
sense.
until
Yeah.
until we're ready, and so I don't have to deal with.
All the kerfuffle and commotion that comes with it. Mm,
Yeah,
I
right,
get you.
right. Or, oh, ain't he the one that messed with so and so? And ain't he?
Oh,
I mean, he ain't. They both divorced. They've been divorced.
there's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, and you're right. we come with so many opinions. You're not lying.
It's true.
We come with so many opinions, so you've not lied there at all. My last kind of conclusion then, what would be your kind of takeaway to give to the audience, maybe, in terms of emotional availability, like in terms of becoming emotional available or even doing the work, whatever you choose to kind of share? What would be like your one piece of, benediction to give to the people so they can receive and take away?
You know what? I would give them the same advice, or the same direction that I felt came for you, and that is, ask yourself the hard questions.
Mm,
Is the emotional availability tied to fear? Is it a fear of failure? Is it a fear of succeeding? Like, some of
mm,
us self-sabotage when we do things right. So, like, ask yourself the hard questions. Why are you running away from something that could potentially add so much value to your life? What did you see growing up that's making you shy away from something that could potentially be good? Um, so I would just say, if you are dealing with that, ask yourself the tough questions. Sometimes you need to give yourself permission to take a leap, and go into something with blind faith.
mm.
And I think that those are some of the most rewarding parts of life, right? When you
Mm.
just take the leap.
Come on.
So yeah, that would be my advice to anybody that's listening.
Love that. Love that. Well, Winter, where can we find you? Where can we connect with you? Where can we support? Or do you have anything that we can support as well?
Absolutely. So my my Instagram name is here at Wynter Patterson. I do coffee with Wynter every morning at 10 a.m. where I'm giving encouragement,
Come
especially
on.
to entrepreneurs, but really to everyone. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to grow your business, I have mentorship programs. I do consulting. You can find all of that through the Instagram. I do a business showcase for entrepreneurs on Wednesday nights. And I'm just, if you see me on the web, I'm usually giving encouragement or having a good time laughing somewhere. So come hang out with me.
Love that. Love that. Wynter, thank you so much for coming on the platform and just sharing light. And I appreciate you having this honest, truthful conversation with myself, even helping me, see a little bit differently as well, perspective wise. It's appreciated, honestly. It's good conversation, and I can see in the comments as well. They love the fact that we're two mature adults just discussing real life and real relationship stuff. So I really do appreciate you. We'll definitely have you on the channel again before the end of the year. So,
Yeah.
because we
So
need more
I'm
of
gonna
this
come
light.
on after I get married, and
I'm gonna be like this.
I'm gonna come on with this humongous rock. Like,
Like,
listen,
so I've just been thinking that just be blinging on my screen.
right, right.
No,
Right.
we
But
we look
no,
forward to that.
these are great conversations, and I love it. I like the way you think. So yeah, let's collaborate and do something in a month or two.
Okay, I love that. Thank you, Winter. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Audience,
having me.
no worries, Winter. No worries. 8 weeks from now. So, audience members, you heard her. We're all we waiting now, jokes. But honestly, audience members, thank you so much for coming through with this lovely conversation. You guys got some real good information and some sound advice, I hope, as well. So make sure you guys follow Winter as well on her page, on her Instagram. Like this video, share it with somebody who needs to hear this, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and subscribe or follow even Winter on Instagram as well. We will see you very, very soon again. We'll see you, I think, tomorrow night for Love is Blind live, and we'll see you on Thursday night for Married at First Sight, and then we'll see you Saturday for Ready to Love. We're going to be here for you, okay? All right? So if some of you haven't got Valentine, I'm here for you, okay? To be your Valentine, all right? Appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay